Okay, Trae Young is not actually averaging 50 points, but YouTube titles, you know how it is sometimes. Trae Young has been amazing for the Hawks so far. And I remember for the Bleacher Report article I did not long ago, I was downplaying Trae Young at being like number 20. I'm not looking good with that take right now. If I'm going to do a way too early MVP thing, it honestly might be Trae Young so far. Before this recent Nets game, 33 points and 15 free throw attempts a game, and that's the first thing to look at is the free throw attempts. The guy is pulling a second year, maybe it was third year, I don't remember, Kevin Durant, where he suddenly just makes a joke of the league with how he can draw fouls. His go-to is he gets around a screen and then he basically just backs up into the guy running at him and he gets a foul call. I don't blame Trae Young for this. If they're going to call that, do it every single time. He is also looking a lot like Isaiah Thomas back with the Celtics, where a small guy, but he's getting by defenders, whether it's on a screen or one thing I really like that he's doing is he's starting his moves really quickly. So like right after he crosses half court, he just goes right into a crossover or an in and out dribble. He's not giving defenders a lot of time to just relax. And then once he gets in there, he doesn't bail defenses out with mid-range jumpers that often, but also he just goes into defenders and he's getting so many foul calls right now. And again, it really is reminding me of Isaiah Thomas in Boston, where he's just like this little cannonball that just keeps going to the basket again and again and again, and defenders are having a really tough time dealing with him. Even when he's not getting fouled, his gracefulness or whatever you will in midair to hit these layups either around big guys or over them or use the basket as a way to stop the shot block or whatever, it's all working. He's shooting 79% at the rim. And then you're still getting the normal three-point attempts, although he has dipped down a little bit from last year, which is probably a good move because, I mean, if you thought that Trae was going to be the next Steph Curry, the percentages would say no. I mean, he's, for his career, 34% on 7 threes a game. Now, that being said, defenses are still really freaked out by him out there, so it's effectively still working for him. And then when you combine that with the way he's just slithering to the basket and all that, there you go. And, you know, Capella's setting screens, Collins is setting screens, and then Trae is just whipping the ball around to all these shooters, and the Hawks are definitely making their threes right now. I mean, DeAndre Hunter's over 40%. I should say all these stats are before this Nets game they just played, although Hunter had like 20-something points against the Nets. Cam Reddish is making his threes. We'll talk about him in a moment. Bogdan has been one of the best shooters in the league so far, 43% on 9 threes a game. A lot of Bogdan's threes have been just with a guy in his face as well. Like, his confidence on these shots is really, really high right now. And when we're talking about three-pointers, John Collins, he's not taking too many, which was a bit of a conversation given that he's playing next to Clint Capella. However, Collins is still making the spacing work to me because he's going off the dribble a lot. Or he's just setting a screen for Trae, and then that just gets them going. And, you know, once Trae Young is getting to the middle of the floor, somebody's open. So the Collins-Capella front court on offense has worked out so far. They've also been running some Collins at center when Capella's not in the game, which is something that I think they dabbled in before, but it did seem like they settled on Collins not really playing center much. And once Okongwu is healthy, maybe we won't see it that much, but so far it hasn't really been too bad. You know, it's mainly against second units, that sort of thing, but that's probably the way you'd want to do it. Would also like to point out that Solomon Hill is shooting 45% on 5 threes a game at the moment. They really are knocking down threes like crazy. Some of this is going to dip down. I don't know how much of it, but they're not going to shoot 40% from 3 for the season, which is what they're shooting at least before the second Nets game. And if I didn't mention it, Kevin Huerter is also making his threes, because of course he would be. Now if we get to Cam Reddish, he has been better so far. That being said, I'm not doing backflips over the guy so far. I mean, his threes have been better, and he's shooting a couple more free throws a game, so that's good. However, his assist-to-turnover stuff is still not too good. His general responsibility as a ball handler is not too far off from last year in terms of the amount of times he gets it a game, and you know, usually it's in transition after he gets a rebound, because he is a good rebounder. We got to give him that. He will have an occasional pick-and-roll play, an occasional handoff play. If Trae gets him the ball off of some initial action and then the defender's closing out to him, he'll do a line drive to the basket, that sort of thing. And again, he's been a little better. He's shooting 69% at the rim right now, which is better than last year. We'll have to see if he keeps that up. His overall 2-point percentage has still not been very good. I mean, his mid-range has been pretty bad, and that's holding his percentages down. He's been horrible from floater range, and he's taken quite a few of those. So he still has some things to iron out. I mentioned DeAndre Hunter. He showed a little bit of something off the dribble in his rookie season, and I mean, Trae Young is really handling the ball a lot for this team, so we'll see if DeAndre is able to build on that much, but he is making his shots. And now I think we should talk about the defense, because it has not been very good so far. They are, after 5 games, 111 defensive rating, which is 23rd in the league. Granted, they're kind of grouped in there. Like, the difference between them and a few teams higher is not too many decimal points, but the point being is, we kind of figured this roster would still have some trouble on defense, and so far they have. And part of that is it's still Trae Young. That's always going to be part of him, and that's just something the Hawks signed up for when they drafted him. We imagine when Okongwu is able to play that he can hopefully help this out right away. But I think the other thing, and we've already sort of seen it from Lloyd Pierce, is I think he's just going to have to lean on DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish, and eventually Chris Dunn will be back, and we'll see how he can get into the rotation. And I think that's how you figure out the defense. You just simply play good defenders. I know that's basic as hell, but I think that's pretty much the move. Solomon Hill may be able to fit into that, as well as Kevin Huerter, good size for a defensive player as well. So we'll see if they can figure out the defense, if they get some of their guys back. If they can't, like, let's say whether it's teams attacking Trae Young or going at John Collins, or Cam and DeAndre Hunter, good defenders, but maybe not good enough at this moment to like really, really make a difference. And then you got Rondo, who defensively has not always been the best, and maybe Okongwu comes back, but he's still a rookie, and he also is dealing with a foot thing, and maybe he's not as mobile as you really like him to be. Maybe this team just caps out as being, 22nd in defense. Which, that does hurt their playoff chances, certainly, but if they're going to keep being the best offense in the league, then they're going to figure it out. Now, I do want to look at the on-off numbers with Trae Young, and, early in the season, I know, they are still a negative net rating with Trae Young not in the game, but their offense isn't horrible. It's 110 offensive rating, when in the past it's been like 87 or something. Another subplot for Atlanta was if Trae Young was going to do more off the ball. Nope, not at all. He is currently, 10% of his 2-pointers are assisted, 18% of his 3s are assisted. He has the ball by far the most in this team. It's not a thing. He's not running off the ball. He's not setting screens. He's not a part of pin downs or floppy sets or whatever. Might not matter if he's going to be this good at drawing contact. So yeah, man, the last thing I will say is there's probably 11 guys on this team who expect to play a lot of minutes, and somebody's feelings are going to have to get hurt, and Gallo just got paid $20 million a year, so it's not going to be him. So we'll see what develops with that one. But you definitely have to think of the Hawks in a more positive light for the playoff picture now. And the Eastern Conference is really weird right now with the standings, and we'll see how it all plays out, but the Hawks are good.